So today we're checking out the DJI Mic Mini, which is DJI's newest mic in the lineup of mics. I'll be going through all of its features. There's some that are pretty unique and makes this mic really interesting, so I'll go through all of that. Also compare it to a bunch of different mics that are very similar to it and tell you what my thoughts about it are and if you should be looking to get this mic. Before we get started, I want to mention that this video is not sponsored by DJI. They did send me the mics to test out. No money exchanged hands. They don't get to see this video before it's posted, and they also have no input on this video and on what I say. All of these thoughts are my own. Also, for the rest of this video, the audio will be on the DJI Mic Minis. Whenever I switch to a different mic, maybe if I need to show you the Mic Minis and I don't have them attached on me, I'll put on the screen right over here which mic is being used, just so that you know if the audio is coming from the Mic Minis or not. But if it doesn't say, then it's from the Mic Minis. So throughout this video, I'll also be comparing the DJI Mic Minis to the DJI Mic 2s, just because they're both made by DJI. They're actually pretty similar. They're not too different. There are a few differences that I'll explain later, but these are actually a little bit closer than you might think. So I'll go through some of these features later. And I'll also be comparing it to the HOLLYLAND LARK M2s, which are these tiny little mics. These are some really great mics that are super tiny, just like the Mic Minis. I'll kind of go through the features and give you some side-by-side comparisons for this as well. So right now we're going to do a little audio test. So I don't know if you can see this, but I have 3 different mics on me. I have the LARK M2, I have the DJI Mic Minis, and I have the DJI Mic 2s. Again, whenever I'm using those mics, I'm going to switch it up here just so you know which one's being used. They all have the wind muffs on because it is a little bit windy right now, and we're going to do a little audio test. So of course, the mic that we're showing today is the DJI Mic Mini. This is the audio from it. How does it sound? We have the wind muff on. I like that it's super light. It's a very simplified mic with some pretty cool features. Now this is the audio from the HOLLYLAND LARK M2. It's pretty similar in terms of features to the Mic Mini, but this is probably one of the closest mics to the DJI Mic Mini as a competitor that you might want to check out. And finally, this is the audio from the DJI Mic 2. I chose to compare this mic as well because some people might be looking at the DJI Mic Minis and wondering if it's worth the upgrade to the price to the Mic 2s. So this is what the audio sounds like.
This thing's tiny.
So these are the Mic Minis. Half the size. Receiver with 5 levels of gain adjustment.
Okay, but internal?
No internal.
No internal. Okay, that's what you're giving up.
You have 2 levels of noise cancellation with it. So you have like a basic noise cancellation. So you have like 2,
better.
like a stronger one. Yeah. I like how the wind must fit in the case.
Ah, about time, bro.
And the cable fits in the case too.
About time. I think so. How much do they retail?
I don't know.
I get it just because, yeah, everything fits in the case, which is super annoying about these guys.
Yeah.
It's hard to give up internal, though. I really do like internal. So for the size, it's a pretty good 360 camera, bro. Yeah, I mean, you're only giving up internal. That's what's internal cost to us. Internals are pretty good backup. It's a tough one to give up.
It's definitely good for its size.
For its size, yeah. Does it beat the other mini ones on the market? In terms of like, the other mini ones have internal?
No.
No.
Okay. So.
That's why they.
And the other ones don't like fit everything in the case either.
Right.
So this is what you get in the box for the DJI Mic Minis. It comes in a very nice carrying pouch and the case fits inside. The case is a rechargeable one and it shows the battery level on the outside. And inside the case, you get 1 receiver, 2 transmitters with the windscreens attached, 2 mobile adapters for iOS and Android, and the cable, which also fits in the lid. The Mic Mini windscreens attach onto the transmitters with a single click, which is really nice. Taking a quick look at the other mics, the DJI Mic 2 case is only slightly bigger than the Mic Minis, but they can only fit the receiver, transmitter, and phone adapters inside the case. And if you want to carry the windscreens and the other accessories with it, then it comes with a pouch to hold everything in it, which makes the package substantially bigger. And the windscreens also attach using the lav input, which is super easy. Then for the HOLLYLAND LARK M2 case, it's actually smaller than the Mic Minis, but it only fits the transmitters and receivers inside. All of the other accessories go inside the pouch, which has very minimal organization and is kind of a mess. I actually especially hate the windscreen because the way you put it on is kind of like a sock, and it literally took me like 30 seconds to try to put on one of them. And then what I especially like about the Mic Mini cases that the other ones don't do is that the windscreens fit on the transmitters when they go inside the case, and the cable fits inside as well. So with this rechargeable case, you're actually getting a lot of battery. The transmitters are supposed to give you 11.5 hours of battery life, the receiver is supposed to give you 10.5 hours, and then this case is supposed to give you an additional 3.6 times more charge, so that's a total of 48 hours of usage. I also really like that this case actually has fast charging. So even though the battery life is really good, there are often times that because the battery life is so good, I'll forget to plug this in. But if you do run out of battery, 5 minutes of charge with the case is supposed to give you an hours of usage for everything. So the DJI Mic Minis actually have better specs than the DJI Mic 2s. The Mic 2s rate for 250 meters of range, and the Mic Minis, they're advertised for 400 meters of range. And you might be wondering why you actually need that much range. Right now I'm talking on a shotgun mic, and that's really good when you're really close to the mic, maybe like 1 or 2 feet away. But basically, as I'm talking and I keep moving back, as I start to get farther and farther away from the camera, you basically can't hear me anymore, or the audio is just really bad because you're not close enough to your audio source. And that's the one downside of shotgun mics. So basically the benefit is that now that I'm on the DJI Mic Minis, as I walk farther and farther away, you can still hear me perfectly fine because the mic is on me, it's attached on me. It doesn't matter where the shotgun mic is because the shotgun mic was just attached to the camera and had no way of moving it without moving the camera. But with the lab mics, I can now walk away. You can still hear me perfectly fine here. And 400 meters is an insane range. It doesn't mean that you're actually gonna walk 400 meters, but with a stronger signal, it means that even if you walk between some structures or even something as simple as turning so that your back is facing the camera, when you're super far away, sometimes even something like this could block out the signal. And especially since these mics don't have internal recording, you want to make sure that you're never losing signal, because if you lose signal then you lose audio. So when I'm facing away from the camera and walking away, you can still hear me perfectly fine because the signal is really strong, and it just guarantees that the link will stay a lot more solid for a longer distance or with a lot more objects in between. So the receiver on the Mic Minis is pretty simple. You have 5 stops of level gain, which goes from -12, -6, 0, 6, and 12. The LARK M2 receiver is also super simple. You just have 3 levels of gain adjustment and you adjust it with this dial. And then obviously the DJI Mic 2s has the most advanced screen. It has a full touch screen with the dial on the side. You can change a bunch of settings on it. So you get a lot more control, but for some people, they might hate that and they prefer the simplified approach. So it just depends on what you like. But the great thing about the Mic Minis that the LARK M2s don't have is that instead of having all your settings on the screen like the DJI Mic 2s, you can actually connect the receiver on the Mic Minis to the DJI Mimo app, and that's how you would change your settings. So for some people, they might prefer to use their phone because maybe there's settings that they won't always change. Then they prefer to just use their phone once in a while instead of having a touch screen. And some people might prefer having all the settings on the touch screen, just like the Mic 2s, just to be able to access them whenever they want. And I'll go through more of the app stuff in a second. And then on the receiver for the Mic 2s, you also have an on-off button. You have a 3.5mm TRS cable input, which is where you'll hook the cable up to your camera. You have a pairing button, and if you double click the pairing button, you can switch between mono and stereo mode. Basically, if you don't know what mono and stereo mode is, here's a quick rundown. We did a little test with the DJI Mic Minis when we were picking up our Fujifilm X-M5s. So we're picking up our Fuji X-M5 that we ordered a couple weeks ago. We're also testing out the DJI Mic Minis.
What's going on, guys? This is how the audio sound. Who's that? Peter McKinnon?
Basically, if we were on mono mode, both of our transmitters of our mics would be sent into the same track, and then this is what would happen.
Do you have the 3314? How much was that one again? Sorry.
We got the Fuji X-M5.
The 3314.
I'm gonna throw in a battery real quick and a memory card.
Alright, let me search it up, sorry.
You can hear my voice and Jaden's are basically just overlapping each other, and if you're on mono mode, you would have no way to fix that. But the benefit of stereo mode is that one transmitter is sent to the left channel and one transmitter is sent to the right channel. And then in editing, I can separate them so that I can adjust the volume of each individually, or I can mute one or the other so that you can hear me clearly in this clip without Jaden's voice. We got the Fuji X-M5. Gonna throw in a battery real quick and a memory card. And then like I mentioned before, if you want to change some of the settings on the receiver for the Mic Minis, you can attach the mobile adapter, slide it into the receiver, and then plug in your phone and go to the DJI Mimo app, and that's where you can change a lot of the settings. So the DJI Mic Minis have 2 levels of active noise cancellation, while the DJI Mic 2s and the LARK M2s only have 1. And I'll do a test of that in a second. You're also able to change between a mono and toggle the safety track, which is -6 dB lower than your main volume. So you have a safety track in case the audio clips, then you have a lower track just to be able to save the audio. For most cases, I prefer using the stereo mode. It just gives you the most flexibility, but that is if you're going to do any post-processing so that you're able to separate the channels. if you're doing something like live streaming or just recording on your phone or something where you're not going to be doing any editing and you want it to go live and you want it to come out the way that you hear it, then you would want to be on mono mode and you would not want to use a safety track. You also have some power efficiency features. So one of the ones I really like is synchronizing the on and off of the camera. So you can see that when I turn on the camera, the receiver also turns on because it's able to detect the signal that the camera turned on. And if you turn the camera off, the receiver also turns off with it. You're also able to enable the automatic shutdown so that after 15 minutes, if there's been no activity, then the mic transmitters and the receiver will shut down by themselves to save you some battery. Now onto the transmitters. The transmitters are super light, they're 10 grams. And comparing the size, they're pretty similar to the LARK M2s, but then they're about half the size of the DJI Mic 2s. And the benefit with them being so light is that if you have some really thin clothing, then even when you put on the transmitters, sometimes the DJI Mic 2s might end up flopping over because the clothes is too flimsy. But with a light transmitter, that doesn't happen. You can attach them using the magnets or the clip. That's one thing I like, is that having the flexibility of using the magnet or the clip. For the DJI Mic 2s, there's also a magnet or a clip, but for the LARK M2s, you have to choose between a magnet or a clip. So you don't have both at the same time. The transmitters also has a power button and then a pairing button. But since these mics are so small, they don't have a lav input, and they also don't work with the camera adapter that works with the DJI Mic 2s. So one thing I really like about the DJI Mic 2s is that they have this camera adapter. And if you haven't seen this before, this basically just slides onto the port on the DJI Mic 2s. And when you attach this to the camera that has a Mi compatible hot shoe enabled, you can see that the audio levels on the camera, when I'm talking, then the audio comes through, even though right now I have no cables attached. There's nothing attached here, and I can talk and I can transmit my voice directly to the camera. But that does not fit the DJI Mic Minis. So if I try to put on the camera adapter, it is way too small to put that on. So it's a shame that they didn't make these compatible. So like I mentioned before, the DJI Mic Minis have 2 levels of active noise cancellation, while the Mic 2s and the HOLLYLAND LARK M2s only have 1. So I'll do a little test right here. So this is what the audio sounds like on the DJI Mic Minis with nothing running in the background. To switch to noise cancellation, you would just press the power button once, and right now we're going to test out the basic. So now we have some water running in the background. To turn on the noise cancellation, we're going to press the power button once. There's going to be a yellow light that turns on the other side. And now this is the audio test with the DJI Mic Minis on the basic level of noise cancellation. Can you hear the water in the background? You let me know. So now I've switched it to the stronger level of active noise cancellation. So if I press the power button again, the yellow light turns on. And now this is an audio test with water running in the background on the strong level of noise cancellation for the DJI Mic Minis. How's it sound? You let me know. So this is what the audio sounds like on the DJI Mic 2 with no noise cancellation on. And then we're going to turn on the water again. To activate noise cancellation, it's the same thing. You just press on the power button. The yellow light turns on. And then this is what the DJI Mic 2 sound like with the water running in the background with the noise cancellation on. How's it sound? Really quick, one thing that I noticed is that what I really like about the Mic 2s is that whenever you press record or when you turn on the noise cancellation, the mics vibrate so that it lets you know that you changed something. The Mic Minis and the LARK M2s don't have that. So I really like the vibration feature. So now we're on the HOLLYLAND LARK M2s, and this is what it sounds like with no noise cancellation on and no water running in the background. So now we turn on the water again, and to activate noise cancellation, there's a yellow button on the side. When you press it, the light turns green on the LARK M2s, and this is what the audio sounds like on the LARK M2s with water running in the background and the noise cancellation on. How does it sound? So one of the things that the Mic Minis have that's pretty unique is that it has automatic limiting for clipping control, which means that if your audio gets too loud and it starts to peak, it should reduce the volume just enough so that it doesn't peak. So one thing these mics also have is automatic limiting for clipping control, and right now it should be hard to hear me because I'm talking really loud into the mic and it's peaking. But if you turn on the clipping control, it should automatically reduce your volume so that you can hear me better. But now I turn on the clipping control so that even though I'm talking really loud right now, you should be able to hear me a lot better because the mic should be automatically reducing the volume. So again, this is with clipping control off. I assume there should be a lot of distortion because I'm talking really close to the mic. But if we turn on clipping control, it should automatically reduce the volume. And now this is with clipping control on. I'm talking really close to the mic again at the same volume. But I assume you should be able to hear me a lot better with a lot less distortion. This is a little test right now. I'm screaming into the mic. Do you hear a lot of distortion? This is a little test. I'm screaming into the mic right now. Do you hear a lot of distortion? So after trying out the clipping control a couple of times, I found that it's not bad. It's definitely not the same as 32-bit flow where you could be like screaming into the mic and then in post-production you just lower the volume and it comes back out perfectly clean. It only seems to lower it just a little bit, just enough so that it's not clipping, but it doesn't like drastically reduce it by like 10 decibels or something. What it seems like it's doing is that most of it is still at the same level and it's only taking those very small peaks that are clipping and lowering it a bit just enough so that it's not clipping. So when you listen to the side-by-side example, you might not hear too much of a difference. You still will get that very loud noise, especially because I was like yelling into the mic, but it just lowers it just enough so that you don't get those very small static or distortion pops when my voice starts to clip. And this is one of the main differences with the Mic 2s and the Mic Minis is that with 32-bit flow, you're actually recording all the raw data. So no matter how loud you scream, you can still lower the volume in post. But if you're doing something live where you're like live streaming, or if you're going live on Instagram or YouTube or something, you can't use the 32-bit flow because that requires post-production. So the automatic limiting will actually come in handy because it's live, you don't have to do anything for it, and it works even if you're not going to do post-production. So that's actually pretty cool. It does bridge the gap a little bit between just like a regular mic and something with 32-bit flow. It's kind of like in the middle. So depending on your usage, that may be more useful to you than 32-bit flow. So one thing that I really miss about the DJI Mic 2s after using the Mic Minis for a couple of weeks is that there's no onboard recording. Onboard recording is really great as a backup. So I do a lot of wedding videography, and just having a backup is really great because even though the transmission is really good, on the off chances that maybe there's some interference or maybe the mic does come out or maybe the person that you're miking up just walks out of range, having the internal recording is a really great backup. But I think even if you're not doing professional work and you don't need a backup for audio, there's a really cool thing that I like to do, which just helps you get audio really quickly when you don't want to take the time to set up a receiver. So I'm gonna unplug this receiver right now. So the audio is gonna be coming from the in-camera mic. So right now the audio is coming from the in-camera mic, and obviously it doesn't sound that good, and it'll be even worse if there's a lot of people around or a lot of wind. But this is what I would like to do. So on the Mic 2, because there's onboard recording, I'll press record. So now I can see it's recording. I'll do a quick sync with the camera and the mic. So now let's sync. So now I have audio coming from the DJI Mic 2s. It's wireless because it's using the onboard recording, which means I can walk around, I can say whatever I want, I don't have to be near the camera, and I'm still getting good audio. And because I did this, I don't have to hook up any receiver because I can just sync it back in post. Obviously, this isn't the best way to do it if you have a lot of clips. If I'm shooting all day, it's going to be a pain to sync up like 50 or 100 clips. But if I just want to get one quick shot, just using the in-camera audio, recording on board with the Mic 2s, and then just doing a quick sync, lets me capture audio really quickly, and I don't really have to worry about setting up the receiver or doing all the other stuff. And that's one thing that I really miss about the Mic Minis is that I can't do that because there's no onboard recording. I have to hook up the receiver. It only takes a few extra seconds, especially because now that everything comes in the case, everything's already there, which is really nice. But sometimes in a quick pinch, I can just do this with the onboard recording, and that's really nice. Or if I want to do a voiceovers with the Mic Minis, I would have to actually record a video and then just grab the audio from it. With this, I just press record on it, do whatever voiceover I want, and then grab the audio file. So again, that's one thing that I really miss about the Mic Minis that the Mic 2s have. So one thing these mics can do is connect to the phone. So right now I have the receiver plugged into the phone directly with the iOS adapter. Right now the Mic Minis are also on me, so you should be able to get pretty good quality out of this, and it's a very nice setup, which I really like. There's no cables, you literally just switch out the adapter, you plug into the phone, and the audio should be pretty good. One of the really great things I like is that, let's say you're using this for live streaming. Usually for other adapters, whenever you plug them directly into the phone, then it takes up the charging port, which means you actually can't charge your phone. But with this, they actually have a USB-C on the back of the receiver, so that if you need to charge, you can plug the receiver into USB-C. The USB-C will charge the receiver and charge the phone at the same time, which means that you're not sacrificing charging by having good audio, and you're not sacrificing good audio by needing to charge. So I also forgot to mention that you can connect the Mic Minis to the phone using Bluetooth. So right now I'm using my iPhone and I'm connecting it through Bluetooth. And as you can hear, the audio quality is not the best. You're only getting 16 kilohertz of bit rate, while if you're using the receiver, you get the full 48 kilohertz. So if you're in a pinch and you don't have the receiver, you definitely can use Bluetooth to your phone. But if you want the best audio quality, you will want to attach the receiver. So this is the audio coming from the DJI Pocket 3, and the really cool thing is you can actually connect the mics to it. So I'm going to do that right now. And now we have the audio connected to the DJI Mic Minis, so the audio should be significantly better than what you just heard. And this is pretty similar from the mics connecting via Bluetooth to the phone, but with this, because you're in the DJI ecosystem, it uses the DJI OsmoAudio feature to get the full 48 kilohertz audio quality to the Pocket 3s, while with the phone you had 16 kilohertz. So this is getting the full audio quality. And also, we're going to go on a little one-wheel rip. We got a Cybertruck. So one of the things I really like about having the windscreen being able to be always attached to the Mic Minis and then being able to put them in the case is that everything is always with you. And there's pretty much no downside to having the windscreen on. There might be some people that argue that having the windscreen on technically reduces your quality just because there's something in front of the mic. But I think that downside is like so minuscule compared to the upsides of always having the windscreen on. So right now I'm riding pretty fast on the one wheel, and you should be able to hear me pretty clearly because I have the wind muffs on. But let's see what happens when I take them off. So windscreen is off now, and if I start riding on the one wheel really fast, you should be hearing a lot more wind noise because the wind is just going into the mics. And that's probably really bad. So I'm gonna put these on really quick again. Now it's on, and yeah, you should be able to hear me a lot better again. And not everyone's gonna be like doing stuff like this where you're on a one wheel or on a bike or something, but even if you're just shooting outside, sometimes there's a lot of wind and the mics could still pick up the wind noise without the wind muffs on. Or sometimes I really like putting the mics on the inside of my clothes just to hide them a little bit more. And if you don't have a windscreen on, your clothes, if you're moving around a lot, it could start rubbing against the mic and you would hear that in the audio. So I basically think that if I had to choose one, I would always have the windscreen on. Pretty much for me, there's no downside. So I really like that the windscreens can just stay attached to the Mic Minis all the time. And I never have to worry about if I need to grab another case and put them on because they'll always be there. And then finally for the pricing, the DJI Mic Minis come in at $169 USD. The DJI Mic 2s are $349 USD, and then the LARK M2s come in at $100 USD. So really quickly, I just want to mention something. I was editing my video for the Mic Minis, and I initially said that the HOLLYLAND LARK M2s were $100 USD, and that I would recommend those if you wanted like a cheaper mic that still performed pretty good. But I just realized that it's not actually $100, it's $159. It's $100 right now because of the Black Friday sale. So I think that if it is on sale and you are able to get it at $100 USD and you want a cheaper mic, then you could go that route. But I think once it's at full price at $159 USD, it's only $10 less than the Mic Minis, but you're getting a lot less features. You don't get the automatic limiting, you don't get the pairing with the DJI devices, you don't get everything fitting into the case, all of that. So if you're gonna buy the LARK M2's full price, then the DJI Mic Minis are a much better choice than that. So again, my recommendation for the LARK M2s at $100, it depends on when you're watching this video. If you're watching this video close to when I post it and the LARK M2s are still on sale, then $100 is really cheap for a mic. But if you're watching this later and they're full price and you're choosing between the Mic Minis and the LARK M2s, then just go with the Mic Minis, they're a much better value. Back to editing. So finally, for the question that you're probably wondering, should you buy the Mic Minis, or are some of the other options, the DJI Mic 2 or the HOLLYLAND LARK M2s, are those a better option for you? And it kind of depends on what you want. If you're someone like a wedding videographer and you need that backup recording, or if you like using the quick feature of just recording into the mics like I mentioned before with the internal recording, then the Mic Minis are automatically out because they don't have it, the LARK M2s don't have it, and you would want to go with the DJI Mic 2s in that case. The DJI Mic 2s are also the only one that has 32-bit float, but what's really interesting is with the automatic limiting for the Mic Minis, it kind of puts it a little bit closer to 32-bit float. If you're doing something like live streaming, you have automatic limiting, then you will be able to take advantage of the automatic limiting that the other mics can't do. And obviously my favorite feature is that everything fits inside the case. I do suspect that when DJI puts out the DJI Mic 3s, they're going to be able to put everything inside the case. Might be a little bit bigger, but honestly the windscreen doesn't take up that much room, so that's able to fit the cable. It shouldn't be too hard. So I suspect that they're going to do that to the Mic 3s, and I'll be very surprised if they don't because they did in the Mic Minis. So hopefully they do that because that's definitely a favorite feature of mine. The Mic 2s are already a little bit better because at least you have all of this organization. I really don't like the LARK M2s with this because there's no organization. It's like I reach inside of here, I have no idea what I'm pulling out. Like I'm just fumbling around for what I need. The Mic 2s are a step up because they have organization. You can see what you need to get and then do all of that. And then obviously the Mic Minis, everything's just there, so you don't even need to carry the pouch that comes with it. And of course with the pricing, the LARK M2s at 100 USD are super cheap, so they're probably like the best value for what you pay for just because they're so cheap. But I think that for a lot of the options that you get, we're just paying $69 more for the DJI Mic Minis. You get everything in the case, you get automatic limiting. If you use the DJI devices, like the Pocket 3 or the Action 5, being able to connect it to that is really awesome. The 2 levels of active noise cancellation is an upgrade. All of that might just make paying $69 more for these worth it. And obviously the Mic 2s, you have all the pro features, 32-bit flow, internal recording. Internal recording is super awesome that I really like to use, again with like just being able to sync my camera with the transmitters. I think the pouch is really great. I think even though you don't have everything inside the case, the pouch at least has organization, so that's not too much of a hassle. And then of course, being able to use a camera adapter, you might want to be able to set up your receiver cable free, so that's also a very good option that the Mic Minis don't have. You're also paying just over double the price for the Mic 2s than the Mic Minis. So again, if you need internal recording and all those features, HOLLYLAND LARK M2s at $100 is going to be the cheapest, and you still get a lot out of it. And of course, if you want to be right in the middle, just still getting some of those pro features with just a little bit more money, Mic Minis might be your way to go. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions about the Mic Minis or any of the other mics or just comparisons, definitely let me know in the comments what I missed or what you want to know. I'll try to answer those. And if this was helpful or you liked the video, definitely drop a like, subscribe to see more photo video content, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.